But Mike, Kevin Stefanski did a pretty damn good job of laying out his plans this week. For Deshaun Watson, he's going to do a lot of work throughout the week against the Minnesota Vikings and that joint practice, and won't play this week against the Minnesota Vikings, but will make his preseason debut next week against the Seattle Seahawks. How do you feel about how Kevin Stefanski is going about this?
I think it's the perfect plan. I actually think it's exactly the right way to handle Deshaun Watson as he continues to rehab from his shoulder surgery. It's less of rehab, but just to get reacclimated into playing football at a high level in real game situations. Joint practices are great because it gives you real game situations against opposing defenses without the live bullet and the live chance of getting hit. But I do think before he takes the field against Dallas in week 1, he does need a few reps, and just a few, 2 series maybe, that could be it, of reps where he knows he can't just hang onto the ball, freelance in the pocket with no repercussions. He needs to have the time and the clock in his head clicking at a level where there are guys who he knows can come, sack him, hit him, force him off his point, make him move around, make him improvise, and he's going to get that against Seattle. So with Minnesota coming in this week, let him run through all the joint practice stuff, let him go through all the drills, let him attack Minnesota's defense without the threat of being hit. And then in Seattle, even if it's just a run-through for the pure communication back and forth between Stefanski with this new revamped offense, collaborating with Ken Dorsey and Tommy Rees and Deuce Staley, etc., getting that communication flow in, getting those live rep game situations in, I think it's the right way to handle Deshaun Watson. And as Bull said yesterday, Mahomes plays in the preseason. A lot of the top quarterbacks play in the preseason in just limited action because they need and they feel like they need those live game reps that you can't simulate any other way besides an actual preseason game. I think it's the right move, and I applaud Kevin Stefanski for putting Deshaun Watson in the right position to be at his peak come week 1 against Dallas. Tyvis, what say you?
I mean, I understood why he didn't play last week. Obviously, he wasn't even clear until this week to be fully clear. This week, I don't think you need to play in the game because you're getting all the work in joint practices. With the Vikings, you'll be able to run all the stuff that you really want to run anyways, and you can keep your quarterback protected from being hurt. I do think that the third game was the most important one because if you don't play him at all, that's too much of a layoff that he hasn't played football. So the third week is perfect. I think that's what they did last year, and I think they play a half or a quarter. They played for quite some time in the third preseason game.
Last year?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I feel like it was like either a quarter or a half.
I don't remember what
Kansas City. Because
that's right. Denzel got hurt. Denzel got concussion in that game.
Did he?
Because I thought it was nuts for him to even be out there.
Yeah.
He got a concussion in that game.
Huh. Well, anyways.
Thornhill had the pick 6.
Yeah, he had to pick 6. But, yeah, anyways, I think that's the perfect time to play him in the third preseason. I'm more of I would have played him in the first one or like a series or two like everybody else. Not a lot in the second, but made him play a little, like a quarter, maybe a quarter and a half of its third one. That was more my layout, but I understand why they chose not to go to wow. They had no choice. Like I said, he wasn't fully cleared to do it in week 1. So I think that's why we're getting the plan that we're getting. Listen, as long as he's ready week 1, that should be all that matters. And getting him prepared, he has to take some game reps. I know G. Bush was first on the one. Like, I wouldn't play him at all. And I just looked at him like he was crazy because that's blasphemy. He definitely needs to feel the pressure of being sacked. And I think when I look at Seattle's defensive line with this offensive line problems that we have at the left tackle spot, he'll feel some pressure, all right.
I did wonder if they would hold him out the entire preseason. I didn't think they should, but I did wonder if the first time we saw him would be against Dallas.
I don't understand why would you want to do that.
I just had a feeling that might be the case, so I'm glad. I think we talked about it last week. This is exactly how it done. I wouldn't have played him in the first one. Don't need to play him in the second one because of the joint practice, but I would play him in the third one. So I was glad to see that that's what Kevin decided to do. I think it's the right call. He's probably not going to play a ton in the third one, but you got to get him out there. You got to let him get the reps. You have to let him see it. You have to let him feel it. You don't want Dallas to be his first exposure, particularly coming off, the injury and everything else. So I think it's a great plan. I think it's the right way to go.
It made me feel even better about Deshaun, knowing that the Browns and mainly Stefanski were confident enough to put him in a situation against Seattle where, God forbid, he does get sacked, he'll be able to bounce back up. Because had they not played him this entire preseason, I would have understood the reasoning, but it would have made me think and jump to the conclusion of, maybe they don't think he's ready to take a hit yet. And whether that's fair or not, that's just kind of the presentation they'd be giving you. So the fact that they are going to play him against Seattle and open himself up to potentially getting hit, getting sacked, whatever it may be. To me, says the Browns are confident where Deshaun is physically 3 weeks out from the first week of the season.
I hope he don't get blasted. I think that the reason that they need to this joint practice for the next couple of days is important, and that Seattle game is important because of that left tackle spot. You got to come up with a plan. Practice is probably safer because you can do some other things and not worry about your quarterback getting hit. But in that third game, like I say, he needs to know that pressure probably will and can come from the left side of his offensive line. So he's got to be ready to avoid that and understand how he needs to go forth throughout this season until Jed comes back, what he needs to do to protect himself.
If Deshaun is playing against Seattle.
He is.
No, I'm just saying, but like,
oh, okay.
If he is, that to me that says they feel confident they'll have one of their left tackles or one of their other injured tackles who hasn't practiced yet on the field that game as well. Because I don't know how comfortable I'd feel putting Deshaun Watson out there with James Hudson at left tackle.
I don't think they're going to. I think that it's going to be a very heavy dose of David Njoku doing some chipping before he runs out.
They have to.
That's the only way. Like
left tackle
that running back is going to have to be on that left side, and he's going to be ready to pick up because, or James Hudson might be all right. We never know. We gonna find out.
Every time, every practice report we've gotten this training camp,
it's not been great.
It hasn't been great, and it wasn't great last year when he played in the regular season. He can run block there, and we're told he's a better run blocker than my eyes tell me he is, Tyvis. In terms of pass protection, I mean, do you remember they were wheeling out DeJuan Jones on third downs last year? They were rotating right tackles.
Because
they
didn't
want James Hudson to pass block. Well, now he's on the left side in this new configuration of the offensive line with Jed Wills and Jack Conklin hurt. And I'm just telling you right now, we'll have a bigger conversation on this later in the week after we see how Hudson does against some of the Minnesota players. If James Hudson has to play meaningful snaps at left tackle for the Browns in 2024, it is a legitimate issue. And the way that man's laughing right there means he knows I'm right.
No, I'm laughing because no, you are right, and that's the sad part is you got to figure something out. You gotta. But I don't know what you do. That's the question. Do you trade for a left tackle? But then if that was the case, you should have did that.
Done that a while ago. Yeah. And who's out there that be available now?
And what is Jed's injury that he's out?
He got a knee scope and he had an MCL issue. And then when he got his scope, they fixed the MCL. This was November of last year. He is yet to practice. I mean, they say he's going to be okay for week 1, but if you haven't practiced at this point, you tell me. If you haven't practiced as of August 13th.
You telling me this man ain't kick slide since November of last year. You think he going out there week 1? I doubt it.
Tyvis, you're looking at the single worst left tackle in the history of football.
Doubt it.
I had to quit football because I hated it.
This man ain't kick slide since November. You telling me you think no?
And week 1, who are they playing? Who's going to be up against them?
Michael Parsons.
Yeah, how's that going to go?
Yeah, no. That's not happening.
It's going to be an issue, guys. Like,
that's not happening.
We'll discuss and we'll figure out. I'm surprised they haven't tried DeJuan Jones at all at left tackle in camp. We would have heard about it. But
they got a good thing going there. I thought Jack Conklin would be the swing guy.
Conklin hasn't practiced either.
It was his first day out on the field yesterday.
Oh, he practiced yesterday? Okay.
No, he didn't practice.
But he was out on the field?
He was his first day outside yesterday.
Outside. Well,
I don't think he had any equipment or nothing. It was just his first day outside.
It is certainly a situation to monitor as we continue to get closer and closer to the start of the season, Tyvis. But my point is, if Deshaun's going to play, and I wholeheartedly agree with Deshaun playing against Seattle for a little bit, if Hudson is the left tackle, you better be rolling out to the right every play. Get him on the move. I am not standing,
you know what's
and I'm not calling 7 steps. They're going to nickel blitz from the right.
Yeah, I was about to say they ain't going to blitz.
Pick your poison, Tyvis.
They ain't going to blitz.
Pick your poison.
What do you mean? I told you what to do.
Well, you know what? Let's just go unbalanced line. Put a Jermaine Ifedi as the tight end on the left side.
I think he's taking left tackle spots today.
And I listened.
Or yesterday, I think he was taking left tackle spots.
Yesterday, yeah. Ifedi went to A&M. Shout out.
Fetty was with Seattle. Listen, I was with Fetty in Seattle. He was all right. He was straight.
That was 7 years ago.
It was straight. What?
What do you think about the Deshaun Watson plan? Joint practices against Minnesota, game action against Seattle. Right call, wrong call?
I think it's the right call. You get more done in those individual drills when you're in those joint practices. It's a more controlled environment as well. And I think it's good to, finally see Deshaun Watson go against an opposition and not just somebody that's wearing a brown, white, or orange jersey. And so, we'll get some real work in. I think, they'll treat week 3 of the preseason as their dress rehearsal. Hopefully he goes out there and plays, 2 series, get the arm warm and kind of like just get his feet wet before we get ready for Dallas.
Yeah, I just think those game reps where you can actually get hit and you can let some things fly and you can see, all right, for example, we'll call it a little slant route, right? Mm-hmm. Can I thread the needle between the linebacker and the cornerback and do it in a game? But do it in a game where if I get picked off, it sucks, but whatever. It's not the regular season. Like, just to fully see the parameters of where you're at. And they're not going to let them rip it 70 yards deep. Like, they're not going to put it in any advantageous or disadvantageous situations. But I just want to see what we got. I want to see how Deshaun looks and whatever this makeshift offense in a preseason game will look like. And you're not going to get those reps. As good as joint practices can be, you're just not going to be able to simulate those game reps unless you're actually in a game where you can get hit.
I agree with that. And I had this conversation with Holly last night. We did our podcast. Make sure y'all get that when it come out. The orange is oranger. Anyways, I was telling her that no matter what happens this season with Deshaun, I would let him play 17 games no matter what. Like, if he's terrible, like,
oh yeah,
we're just not gonna make.
I thought
the
you were
playoffs.
saying like if he hurts his shoulder.
No. I'm talking about healthy wise.
Yeah,
if he's healthy, he's going out there every game because I need to know by the end of this season what we need to do.
What you got?
Yeah, I need to know. So as long as he's healthy, he's out there. I don't care if he's tearing it up every week for 300 yards or if he's throwing for negative 20. He's going out there. So I don't need to hear this backup jazz because it's not happening.
We had Mike Clay on of ESPN yesterday, Ty. Mm-hmm. And he does his statistical projections for every player in the NFL entering the season. He's more of a fantasy guy, so these are coming from a fantasy lens. Mm-hmm. He projected for Deshaun Watson 3,700 yards, 21 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. If I told you could get that from Deshaun Watson this year, 37, 21, and 11.
21 touchdowns?
Would you sign up for it, or would you roll the dice and see whatever we actually get?
21 touchdowns.
21 touchdowns.
Hey, I can't, not 30. I can't get like 28 or nothing.
This is according to Mike Clay. These were his projections. You can see the interview yesterday.
I'm pretty sure everybody would be like, yeah, that's cool. That's fine. Oh, well,
So would you sign up for it or no? Would you roll the dice?
I would roll the dice.
I would too.
Me personally, I'm rolling the dice.
All right, I've got the report.
The Mike Hall report?
Yeah.
Save it.
It's overtime.
Save it. We just going to gather it, and we're going to talk about it in overtime. We got a guest coming up in about 2 minutes.
Okay.